Forests have been seriously undervalued. How? Simply by accounting conventions. When greenhouse gas accounting conventions were first decided, the IPCC agreed to report full gross emissions. This applied to all emissions, all gases, all except one: deforestation carbon dioxide. This inconsistency is examined in our new paper. I worked with a team of government scientists mapping and monitoring deforestation. Watching those dozers literally rip 20-metre tall trees out of the ground is breathtaking. Up close, the noise, the wildlife panic, the violence is deeply unsettling. We saw an average of 11 square kilometres of forest destroyed each day for decades. More than 90% was for grazing. That's 2,500 acres each day for grass-fed industries. The national figure is now double that. But back to accounting. I first noticed this inconsistency when delving into Australia's greenhouse accounts. We found that industries driving deforestation are, by IPCC convention, gifted carbon offsets from natural regrowth on other land. So by convention, fossil carbon is reported in full, but only about a third of deforestation carbon is reported. We discussed the reasoning behind this in the recent paper. When I say deforestation, that includes other land use emissions like timber harvest and fires, but deforestation makes up the majority. Also, forests hold 90% of the world's above-ground carbon, so forests and woody vegetation are crucial to climate. Consistent accounting makes a rather large difference. Deforestation becomes the leading source of carbon emissions since 1750, emitting 19% more than fossil carbon. Here's how emissions have accumulated from 1750 to 2020, with emissions above the line and drawdown below. On the left is conventional accounting and on the right, consistent accounting. Deforestation carbon is boosted by a factor of 2.8. That is not a minor change. The bright side is that we can see now the enormity of nature's drawdown in the ocean and on the land. Nature has stored thousands of billions of tonnes of CO2. That's 3/4 of all carbon emissions since 1750. Even in recent years, 2/3 of carbon emissions have been locked away, mostly by forests. The good news is that deforestation is reversible. And when people say that reforestation will not make a difference, that's because they just cannot see how land use can be changed on a large scale. It can if we eat differently. How does this make a difference? Sectors causing deforestation and historic deforestation now become leading emission sectors. I ran some indicative figures based on the Edgar Food database for current food system emissions. With consistent accounting, their 2015 figure of 34% rises to about 45% of global emissions. That number includes current deforestation, but not historic deforestation. The global carbon budget changes substantially for both emissions and drawdown. Forest protection programs like REDD+ will be boosted, with the carbon emissions from deforestation 2.8 times greater. Biodiversity modelling will be more comprehensive. By the way, biodiversity scientists have been calling for consistent gross accounting for several years now. Temperature pathways modelling could be more accurate due to the different timescales of deforestation and regrowth. Consistent accounting is being used already. It's required by the EU for deforestation-free imports, and carbon markets already work on gross drawdown. We still need to cut fossil fuel emissions urgently, but this work shows how reversing deforestation is just as critical.